Allies Victorious DLC, the first battle of D-Day here. The two primary objectives we haven't done is secure Cherbourg, which is up here, and capture Saint-Lô, which is down here. I don't know if we will block Carentan Peninsula, not exactly sure what that means. And we were unable to blow the railway bridge at 6 turns. Right, okay. So let's continue here now. How many AA guns up top there? Take it out now. Trying to. Doesn't need to stay here, he'll just get bombarded by that gun. Let's move away. I think there's infantry in there. They can move next turn. These guys are thinking. Well. Move the Rangers up a little bit. Maybe one of these guys off. Oh. Hello. Oh boy. Hello, Pino. It's a lemon yellow color for your name, so it's hard to read at first there. Good to see you here. We still got some tough battles to fight out here. Especially, well, pushing into this against the armor here isn't going to be easy. And against all these fortifications here, this isn't going to be terribly easy either. You move up to there, stay in the woods. Upgrade you. And we'll upgrade you while we can. Let's take a what is, oh there. I'm seeing the supply coming through here. So a decent amount coming up to there. Okay. Hey, IKB, good to have you over here. Thanks for showing up, my friend. Any attacks here before? Okay. Now let's move you over here. I think we're ready to let the Jerrys have their turn. Yeah, I was afraid, but we're running out of fuel, so we had to land there. Backing straight into there, yeah. We'll see if we can fall back a little bit. Like they're maybe withdrawing some forces. Yeah, ouch, that isn't good. It might be 17, someone. Ooh, that's painful. Everybody's shooting at him. Wow, that is a bit painful. Oh boy. Wow, no one likes those aircraft. Well, before anything else happens, I don't want to forget we're going to take these guys off. I'll keep them on the ground one more turn. Now here. Well. I don't know that we need to keep the Gurkhas over here, so let's move them back like that. Let's move these guys to here. And we'll reinforce them. And we'll move these guys up on the bridge because we want to hold the bridge still. Oh. Fortunately, I remember just before it was too late. Found this. Use the big turrets. Hit anything? Oh, well, you can go back next to the shore again. And we'll also go after these Jagdpanzers. No, we're not going to advance forward because we want to keep them supported by the anti-tank gun. Would come here and eliminate them. These guys will come up and support them. I think I can only take off one at a time per turn. But these guys can fly somewhere. I know there's a lot of anti-aircraft because I just really messed with them. So we'll come over here to see what we do next turn. I know they're in the trees, but I'm just hoping to get lucky. Oh, okay, well. Now. Hey, thank you for following. Demo Spa? I don't know. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Don't mean to. We will go next to that. There. We will just reinforce this turn. Do that as well here. And hello, or Moradin. How you doing? Yes, we have a lot of War Sprite out here. Belfast. He just doesn't have. He's more of an anti-aircraft cruiser. Doesn't quite have the range to get in, and it's shallow out here. A bunch of other stuff. IKB. So yeah, we have that. Now we also have out here the Nevada, which next turn, because you fire best if you haven't moved. Next turn we'll take a fire at that before they cool down. And hello, Hazefield Thorn. How you doing? Okay, so we've got units in here to attack. We want to take out the PAC-43s. Those are deadly to tanks. Now, here we can take out more PAC-43s. There. This. Yep, push up into the open. Keep them in the... Yeah, let's go for the Panzer Force. Now I know there's some German infantry in there, so... Yeah, I think we'll come onto the bridge here. These guys will come up here and expose that they're there. I knew they were, but I saw them go in a long time ago. And so we're going to start bombing. Definitely win. Too far out. Okay, well, now I'm going to back here with my Rangers. Hopefully that'll take me down. No. Alright, well, I did push a bit on them. Here, we're going to move... And... down there, so... Let's see. Okay, they're going to withdraw out, so... Occupy the town, and well, we'll move into the forest with the anti-tank guns. I think that put some pressure on there to keep it off of these guys. I think this turn will just bring up some reinforcements. Let's shift this supply source over this way. We've got quite a few ships, and we'll shift them over as well. Got a lot of supply ships over here. Can afford to railway have space and money, as it were, to afford more British units. So let's go to purchase Britain. And just the British infantry. Okay, yes, we'll do a light unit. Well, mostly on the defensive over here, so I think we're doing okay. We need to take out Sanlo, but we have a lot of time. We need to take out up here. We have some engineering forces, heavy weapons. So I think we're gonna be okay. So let's put him down up there. Hey, Karnach! How you doing, friend? Okay, these guys. Oh, we have these these are okay. Just love to kill a single strength tank. No. Well, now that we've displaced, well, we're gonna use this turn to reinforce. And put some artillery on him. All right, let's give them their turn. Assault gun into town. Don't know how well that's going to go for them. Well, that attack didn't go so well for them. The artillery did well. Okay, new unit available, P-38 Lightning. Nice. And no, we're not going to move next to the bunker to get shot at. Well, maybe the Typhoon will do it. Probably not, but... Take off another unit here. Yeah, Mosquito Fighter Bomber. You come in and land. You know, I'm just gonna reinforce them this turn. Yeah, there's... Pushing there. Pushing everywhere. Oh yeah, I should have done that first. I keep forgetting. I know. But brought it down by a little bit. Just St. Lo and Cherbourg are still the primary objectives to achieve. Okay, not surprised. Hopefully we won't get all taken out here, but I figured there probably was somebody there. And we have a merchant ship up here. Okay, that's what that is. Now here, we're going to fire a big gun and do damage. Pushing in a little bit will help. I hope it will. And we still have, what, 13 turns left, so there's still plenty of time to get to 2 cities. Really is an epic battle for order battle scale. Okay, we gotta get him away from that bunker. Just nibbling away at him a little too much. Good thing I reinforced him. Oh, okay, we get to battle a AA gun in the town. How interesting. Interesting choice there. AI? Reinforce the anti-tank gun. Oh, we forgot to move the A-20s. These guys forgot to move them. They needed to go back somewhere else. Okay, well, before I forget again, let's head this way. Right, and like I said, let's reinforce that. Or that in a timely manner. Yeah, make it. Eliminate the heavy infantry. We'll do better. Oh, you're supposed to eliminate them. Didn't you hear me? Yeah, now you did your job. You eliminated them. That's for sure. Artillery? and artillery. And yes, I will take the opportunity to get out of the water. Come on, you don't have a bazooka to take him out? Come on. Craft needs to go home soon. So send him here. Damn. Try to take Cherbourg without overly pushing on those forts. You need to get fuel as well. Be able to take off one of these guys. Reinforce him. Oh, down here. Let him attack us, so we'll be on the defensive if he does. Aircraft guns all over the place. I don't like that. Tell them to go away. I know they're gonna shoot me, but they're already Then with those engineers, these guys, oh, they hadn't fought either. Okay, well. Well, I just think we'll sit in the open field here. I know it seems sort of inactive, and it is, but hopefully it will. I mean, we're in a good position. Well, that was painful. And he's even wounded for 6 turns. Wow. Commanding officer over here. Oh good, you're moving into artillery range from the ships. Yes, great. We will release hellfire on them. Okay, well they pushed us out, damn. And they moved up some tanks, but we have anti-tank gun support, which helps. Probably not enough, but oh, yeah, definitely not enough that it killed them. Ouch. Okay. Yes, wounded. Reuben Tucker. You guys reinforce. Hopefully some crippling airstrikes will cripple them. In pursuit. We don't want to let up on them even for a moment. Okay, well, come around this way. We'll get in there next turn. Close enough to these guys too, right? Maybe these guys. No, not close enough for that. And goodbye. You want to push, but not too hard that you just do it. Hey, Hannibal! They would not be crippling airstrikes if they didn't. Right, exactly. I hope they would be enough to do that. You know, the American way of war. I don't know if I've said this here, but I forget the German term for it. But the Germans during World War II very much, again, like I say, forget the German term, but is the target worth the ammunition is what it comes down to. And they, you know, so like if you see a lone infantryman out there, yeah, you can do a burst, with a machine gun or, a couple of rifle shots at him. He's worth shooting at. You see him out there, you're going to shoot at him. It's worth the shot. But it ain't worth, say, a couple of mortar rounds or, a lone guy. Like maybe you see him crawling or whatever. And definitely not worth an artillery round or two. Even if you could hit the target with it. Definitely not worth like shooting a main gun of a tank. But, machine gun burst. Now, when you see a British soldier to dash through some, bushes, trees, and you know they're over there, do you shoot? Well, it's not worth it because you can't see the guy anymore. You saw him move, you saw him go to ground, you don't know if he's in cover or just concealed, you're not quite sure exactly where he is by the time you're shooting. You're just sort of like, yeah, he's in that clump of bushes over there. And so they very much had this idea is the target worth the ammunition? You're making more damage to the Germans this time around. Yep, we are very much trying to hurt them more than they're hurting us. And so and I can see this as both a positive and a negative. The positive is you're not wasting ammunition, and that's a good thing, because even when you're talking about, motorized infantry of some sort, you're limited. Okay, in the half track, how many mortar rounds are you carrying? How much 50 cal ammo? How many bazooka rounds are you carrying? Just how much you got. Now maybe you have plenty of rifle ammunition back in the half tracks, but even there, how close are the half tracks to the actual front? If you're fighting in forests and hills, you're probably keeping the half tracks back, out of line of fire. If you're in the open, they're probably coming out and they're doing fire support, sort of at long range. So you're going to be fine unless the enemy has an anti-tank gun, because they don't have any 50 cals, and just shooting mortars at it, you got to hit it pretty well, and that's going to be an iffy target. And so rifle ammo kind of, and machine gun, you're pretty good, and you're hanging back, and you're out of Panzerfaust, Panzerschreck range. So they can do fire support with their 50s, definitely. But if you're in close-in terrain, you're probably just gonna keep the half tracks of the trucks definitely back a ways. And so it's how much ammo the guy has on him, and when you go click and you go to change your mag or put in a new clip into your M1 Garand, and there's nothing there anymore, you don't want that to happen, even if you're an American soldier. So you don't want to waste ammo. But on the other side, and where I think the philosophy really comes from, is German production. I really, really think it comes from the inability to produce enough ammo. And so with that in mind, part of it is, I would say, as well as the delivery of ammo. Yeah, like we're talking the last, 1,000 meters is one thing, that you don't want to be out of ammo there. But it's the infrastructure to get it to the soldier generally, to his division, to his core HQ. Not just like way out at the edge in Stalingrad, where you're definitely having huge logistics problems, but even when you're talking, the Battle of France and going in there is just relatively short distance, but how do you keep all of your infantry, your tanks, your artillery supplied with shells if you're just like, oh, there's two guys in around that trees over there, let's call in an artillery barrage? No, you only think there's two guys, and there may be more, but you think there's two guys over there. You're not going to call in an artillery barrage just to kill two guys. Where the American way of war in here is, and the British have adopted it because they are getting supplied by America, and they are, and I know I've talked about this before, by this time, very casualty sensitive. They've it's been a long war for them. And so, and I don't mean to, overly state all this, but it has been a long war. So, for the British. So, yeah, they're casualty sensitive. They don't want to push too hard. So it's using fire by reconnaissance. Hey, is there anybody in there? Let's shoot at it. And if they get return fire, well, that means, because they may be guessing, oh, well, they got spotted, so they're returning fire instead of keeping it. So it's reconnaissance by fire. But the Americans are also, hey, call in an artillery strike, call in an airstrike at almost any target, because you don't know what the target may actually be, because although you see one or two guys, there may be more. And it could also just be like a mortar barrage or something like that. And it's really the way of war, and it partially goes to America's ability at the time, at least, to produce lots of ammo and to deliver it to the front. It's a twofold thing, and what's really remarkable, of course, is they're doing this globally. They're doing this into the China, Burma, India theater, sort of. More I'm thinking Burma. They're bringing in huge amounts of supplies into there to fight with, or they're fighting in some jungles in the Philippines or wherever, and they're bringing in shiploads of stuff across the Pacific. So that is good. Hey, Starter USA, good to have you here. also helped that they weren't having their country bombed day and night. Absolutely, Slatter. Slatter. That definitely helps. But we see this philosophy with Germany before the Americans enter the war. I don't know when it shows up. It may have even been showing up in World War I, but we definitely see the ammo Slater. Okay, yeah, I don't know why. Slater. Okay, sorry, Slater. Sorry, just trying to read the names are sort of oddly colored here for me. But after a while, Britain isn't being bombed much. By 1943, even 42, the bombing is mostly over for industrial targets. It's a rare occasion. It's really the ability to produce, and that's a big thing. But it's also be able to globally deliver the supplies, and just sort of I'm just trying to study and understand the different ways of the war and how they fought each other and what that means. Hello, Docs. Don't forget how many horses Germans had. Oh, absolutely, yes. And that's part of it. Is Germany is, well, Goering sucked for lots of reasons, absolutely. Don't want to minimize the suck of Goering, not one little bit. He did suck for many, many reasons. But you're looking at the logistical ability. The primary logistical abilities for the Germans is railways. They moved everything, around on railways, and then it's the last few kilometers, to put it in the German terms, that it would be the horse. More than just the last few, 1,000 meters or something. But the last few kilometers, it's the horse. It's only motorized units and specific, things like the Flak 88s that are being used in dual purpose roles that are being towed by half tracks. It's only the specific piece of equipment, and up and through to the end, they are towing the big. And I know there's a few sort of back here, the big 150 millimeter guns with horses to the end, and you can see nice bright shiny new units in the beginning of the war, of these big heavy artillery units being towed by big teams of horses. By the end of the war, they're doing it too, and they lose so many horses. Oh God, they just lose so many. And so finest highways, lots of horses, complexity, logistics, absolutely. So Volkswagen versus Volksbefehl. I don't know who wins. Yeah, well, the Volkswagen is Kubelwagen, at least during the war period. Yeah, okay, they've got their anti-tank support. They've got anti-tank support to deal with this Panther. I'm just going to keep that as it is. Okay, aircraft. Yeah, you've got to come in here and land. Let's see, can we take somebody off? No. Okay. We're going to repair you. You come in, land. Oh, you're probably going to be... Okay, can you land? No, damn. Uh-oh. Well, I screwed up there. Not enough landing spots here. Yeah, gamer isn't playing as well as I should. Okay. Yeah, he's getting support from the anti-aircraft gun there as well. Strike there. Oh, that equal sources. Okay, good. Thank you. Yes, head to where Berlin is. So yeah, it's... You know, people focus, and I don't know if you know the YouTuber TIK. I have a lot of respect for him, and he's been doing, I guess, more than a year-long deep dive into Stalingrad and looking at all of that. But people focus on, like, the losses at Stalingrad and the losses at, you know, in Tunisia, which is really more Italian losses than Germans, but at least for the whole North Africa campaign, for sure, but also Tunisia. But I also look at the winter counteroffensive, and from the winter of 41 to 42 by the Russians. The Germans have moved in. They can see Moscow. The ground is hardening up, so they can't really entrench really well. And they go into temporary winter quarters, in essence. And it takes and they get there, it's for a little while. And then there's the Russian counteroffensive with the T-34s and whatnot. They often look at, territory lost. But I don't know that there's anything really looking at what the Germans lose materially, but they lose a hell of a lot. The humans, a lot of the humans are, unlike, say, the being surrounded in Stalingrad or cut off in the Tunisian peninsula, that they can't withdraw. So there's a lot of humans lost and both of those losses, my understanding, are about the same. If you would add in the Italian, which you have to add in the Italians, of course, for Stalingrad, because they were there, the Romanians and the Hungarians were there along with the Germans, but all of those losses are about equal to the losses of the Italians and Germans from the sort of Second Battle of El Alamein, Monty pushing out after the failed German attack at the First Battle of El Alamein, up and through to the end of North Africa. Those two sets of losses are roughly equal, my understanding. But where you have the situation on that counterattack, you have a lot of the humans are able to get out. Units are not entirely destroyed. But there is so much German equipment lost. So many trucks are lost because they do not have antifreeze. They cannot get them started, even whether they have fuel or not, but for the moment, let's presume they had fuel. If they could have gotten them going, but they can't. Horses, need to be acclimatized to winter. And for the extreme winters of Russia, and that was, I believe, one of the extreme winter periods, you take a center Western European horse that's used to that winter, and you put him into the east. That horse can't function outside. They were mostly, and I know this also looking at, because I know it's equally true, at Napoleon's invasion of Russia and the failure at Moscow and the winter retreat there as well. The horses were dying tremendously badly because they just weren't capable of being out of doors, and they wanted to be brought indoors. And they also need to be, horses that are being worked need to be fed. Not, oh, hey, graze for a few minutes on the grass, wherever it is. They need to be fed like oats or bales of alfalfa. If a horse is going to be worked, I don't mean just sort of gets to prance around in the field a bit, but do work. And horses can do work. But if they're going to do work, they got to be fed. And it takes, I know like during the American Civil War, you could move generally speaking, you could move an infantry brigade as quick as you can move a cavalry brigade over a long-term situation equally as fast, because unless you had specific horse feed. Because if you had to do all the maintenance you have to do with a horse, before you get up and ride them, you got to saddle them, you got to get them warmed up, you got to feed them in the morning, and feed him, not just let him have some grass. And he's not going to eat it at dark. He's not going to eat at night. The horse, he can be in a field full of grass. He isn't going to wander around eating. So it's only going to be in the daylight he's going to properly eat. And so you got to get him up and go. And you've got to, once you get to where you go, you got to unsaddle them, walk them around, get them unheated, and feed them. Whether it's let them graze for a while. Now, if you could, get oats or alfalfa, which is sort of high nutrition, grass, if you will, in large amounts, and be able to put it right in front of that horse, and he's able to chomp it down on it, then you can move horse units faster. So the Germans in that winter, their horses aren't acclimated to the Russian winter. Their bodies instinctively don't know to do enough, grow enough hair on them thick enough to deal with it. So you bring them out into that winter, and then you make them work to try to retreat. They're just going to die, and that's going to leave so much equipment behind. So much was lost in that. The Krupp Protes or Protes, I don't know exactly how you pronounce it, but the sort of cute six-wheeled, three-axled light German truck that you see used a lot at the photographed at the beginning of the war, and with a sort of a standard version, and then a lot of specialty ones that are set up primarily for towing the 20 millimeter anti-aircraft gun, the Licht Infanteriegeschütz 18, the short-barreled 75 millimeter artillery piece, and the Pak 36, the 37 millimeter anti-tank gun. These three guns particularly were set up. They had special trucks that were optimized for towing them and storing the ammunition and whatnot. Although I have, and people have shown me a few late war, late 44, early 45 of these trucks surviving, they almost disappear from the photographic record starting in 42. These trucks just disappear. Now, one of the reasons they disappear is the factory gets bombed. So they stop producing them because they'd rather just produce the more universally usable and a little bit better, bigger Opel Blitz and some of the other Ford trucks that they were producing in Germany. So instead of trying to get this production line going back to produce these good but and reasonably good off-road, not great, but reasonably good off-road light trucks, instead of rebuilding that factory, let's just build more of and expand, the more of the generic trucks. So it would have kept it in production, I think, for a while. You can easily tow a Pak 40 behind one of these things, but the problem is how much ammo can you store on one of them and have the crew on it versus a 37 millimeter. So a Pak 38 would have been easy to tow it. So they're still useful into the Pak 40 days. And they're still towing around these little Infanteriegeschütz late into the war, and the 20 millimeter single-barreled anti-aircraft guns late into the war. So they would have been perfectly good to use, but they almost disappear from the photographic record, and I believe it is because so many of them were just lost in that retreat. And so they're sort of rare birds after them, and that just really tells you how devastating to me that one counteroffensive is, because unlike tanks, trucks generally aren't lost on successful offensives. They're generally only lost on retreats. And what is... Okay, transporting fuel to the front, feed, compare, contrast. Yes, exactly. And so you've got a lot of that kind of stuff. Firewood for cooking burgers, yes, horse burgers, all that. Yeah, they definitely ate some of the horses and whatnot. Stalingrad Tunisia is relatively successful withdrawal. Sicily was a relatively successful withdrawal. Falaise Gap, no, I wouldn't say that was terribly successful. It did withdraw some out, for sure. I'm just catching up on the chat here. Horse feed, Border de Gras style, yeah. Okay. Try it. Wrestling Goose in a bad enough, yes. Record on how much gear was lost with Palace. Well, basically everything the Sixth Army had, as well as let's see. I guess if and I don't remember all the details because I didn't look this up. You had Palace's German Sixth Army. You had and an army is a multi-corps unit, and so I don't know how many armies need to be at least 2 corps, and corps need to be at least 2 divisions to be a proper thing, proper size unit. So I don't quite, but they are still elastic formations, and I don't know quite how big the Sixth Army got. But you have that, and then you had an Italian army that was the primary element of the Italian expeditionary force into the east. You had a Hungarian army, I believe, that gets either trapped inside the pocket or were part of where they broke through. So maybe some forces were able to retreat out, but functionally destroyed as a combat formation. And I believe 2 Romanian armies. They were planning on putting Antonescu, the depends on how you want to do it and when, but sort of the field marshal leader of Romania in charge down there, and von Manstein only had high opinions of him, of the Romanian generals, and they were thinking of putting him in charge because of the Italian, Romanian, and Hungarian forces, put a non-German commander in. But with that counteroffensive, they put von Manstein in charge of the theater, and eventually promote Palace up to field marshal as sort of like, hey, please use that Luger on yourself instead of surrender, kind of thing, because the field marshals never surrenders, kind of bullshit. So you have all of that lost, basically. Most of the rest of the German forces, I'm not saying without difficulty and without other losses, but most of the rest of the German forces down in the south of the Caucasus eventually get across the Kerch Straits, where they have the bridge that got blown up about a month ago in Crimea to Russia there. Withdraw out there. Most of their are able to withdraw that way. Out in intact formations, and so that is exactly pretty much wiped out. Yes, the Romanian, I know we're way off topic from this, but don't worry. On Stalingrad, there is a Eastern Front campaign with order of battle, so you can do that for both sides, both a Russian viewpoint and a German viewpoint. But I've often looked at it, and the Romanian and the Hungarian and the Italian forces are not useless. The problem is that they're given, like I just said, being an army, so that they are hold a large section of the front, and they're incapable. I mean, sometimes they're getting some German equipment, though it's normally a bit outdated. And even if you go, well, we didn't expect a big counteroffensive with T-34s and coming in, okay, fine. But had you taken those same divisions and broken them up, keep them as divisions, but broken up the corps and the army, and intermix them with German forces, so that you would have had the front lines held by like 2 divisions held by Romanian or Italian or whoever's forces, with a 3rd division that was German as a reaction force that is how you should use these forces to hold the front line, the parts of the front line that you're not using as an offensive option. So you need to intermix it, and this is how ultimately long term with Britain down in India with the sepoy armies, they generally learned that although the various Indian factions down there that the British were working with would fight well, it was still best to have approximately 2 battalions of Indian troops with 1 battalion of proper English army soldiers, and keep it sort of that way. And that would keep everybody steady and good and consistent. That's how Germany should have been able to deal with this. Wonders if the counteroffensive actually competent. I mean, across the whole front. Well, yeah, they were. Marshal Zhukov and Timoshenko and some of the others, they were competent. They were. Not. You can constantly see the Germans. The Germans are just so much better. And I say this and you go, well, the Germans lost. Yeah, but if you look at the odds that they were facing, you look at the difficulties they were facing, it's remarkable that the Germans were able to do what they did. And so I would say the Russians had their problems, but they were generally competent. It's the... did I fire him? Yeah. It's just they relied upon numbers and mass, and you got to say that, like, you know, I know it's sort of a special case, but that Citadel operation, that was competently handled, you know. So yeah, we have to say that. Okay, let's see where we are now. I got distracted. Hopefully I'm entertaining, because that's what I'm supposed to be here, and featuring this great game. I really do like Order of Battle. Yeah, we're reinforcing. We've used up a lot of our points. We're getting ready to assault into there, but I want to do it coordinated attack style, not just piecemeal. Okay, why so many that are interested in World War II history always talking of what the Germans could do better or change so that they would have won or lost? Brute mass is what I had in mind. Thanks. Good to make your acquaintance. Yes, I haven't seen you here before. Again, your Dunks PIR, if that's so. It's sort of very pale for me. You got a sort of a pale green text for you. Been playing Slithering, well, for years. Very good. And everyone here, you should know that the more you watch on Slithering TV, I love being here for Slithering TV. The more you watch here, the